All right, we are live. We are live. Welcome back, family. Welcome back once again to another episode of the Waking Giant News Show. I am your host, Brother Jay. I am the chair of the Ministry of Information for the Phoenix Local Organizing Committee for Justice or Else. And as I said last week, and as I said earlier in this week will be dedicated to the women of the LOC. Well, today I have a interview. All right, I'll let her introduce herself and then we'll get into a little bit of that. But before that, a little bit of housekeeping, family. For all of those on YouTube, please go ahead and like, subscribe, share. Same with you on Facebook. Please go ahead and share us. Go ahead and like this. Go ahead and comment. Feel free to comment. This is a give and take, family. It's not a lecture that you're looking at. This is a give and take. We're communicating with family, so you might want to check in on this conversation. All right. So today I have Arian Nicole. All right, sister, and I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself, but you're in for a treat, family. Welcome to the Waking Giant News Show, sister. Thank you very much for joining.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the platform, the Sisters of the L.O.C. So my name is Arian Nicole. I am a performing artist, lyricist, composer, and cultural activist, mommy, wife, and chair of the Ministry of Arts and Culture.
All right, so as we know, we're very familiar with each other. Now, the Ministry of Arts and Culture, as part of the Phoenix LOC, explain why you're a part of the this particular ministry, and as the chair, what do you hope to achieve, and what goals do you have for the ministry as a whole, and part of the LOC? What goals do you have?
Wow. So, number one, the reason why the Ministry of Arts and Culture, it starts way back to me understanding the power of arts and culture to change our condition, and particularly being an artist first through music, and then through what we see visually and what we hear, auditory perception, and through our gifts, you know. So we have within us the power to heal our communities, the power to put the messages and media that we want our community to see in front of our eyes and to stimulate our brains, in the form of arts and cultural entertainment. My goal for this particular ministry is to do just that, to call upon certain artists who would like to not just complain about culture, but to help create culture. And and I love that. I thought of a hashtag is that we don't complain, we create, we just create. And so that's what I'm looking forward to doing, uniting with like minds, like I said, first and foremost, particularly through music, and also film, Brother Jermaine, dance, and it's culinary art. It's sports, film, fashion, but starting with the base of where we are all at and what really grasps us the most, dealing with like hip hop music and music production and artistry and the entertainers of this world, but music. So that's definitely the goal.
That's definitely the goal, and that's something that is truly doable. So, all right, so you call yourself a musician. You use hip hop as a vehicle. Um, why hip hop as your vehicle? Of course, we both know the influences of what actually created this thing we call hip hop. But for you, as a singer and as a writer and as an MC, why hip hop as your vehicle of expression?
Um, I would say that that's the first thing that caught my attention as a young woman growing up in the ghetto of Peoria, Illinois, a couple of hours outside of Chicago. There was Eric B. and Rakim. My mother's turntable and her dual cassette player. Hip hop caught my eye and it caught my attention. Then the more that I understood, growing up, of course, listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and one of the things he said that one hip hop song was more powerful than 100 lectures. And when it comes to, putting a message out that we really need to hear, or just putting the message out, period. But it's more powerful than 100 lectures. And I know that the lectures that the minister give is like a shockwave around the world. So he said on one rap song. And so that just really, solidified the importance of it, along with the fact that, of course, the climate is becoming more political now, but there's a time, and really now our young people, they can name a hip hop artist, faster than, a number of politicians, or maybe faster than important, figures in history. They can name our hip hop artists first, right? Because they are in their ears, 24/7. So that's the power of hip hop. And then one more thing, KRS-One, when he defined hip hop, he said, here's the definition. He said the hip stood for intelligent and the hop stood for movement. So hip hop is an intelligent movement. And so when they started to, and we're going to get into that, but the dumbing down and all that kind of stuff, we are very intelligent beings. If we want change, we can create it. But what we are in the middle of right now is a war of the mind. It's a conflict that's going on. We want change, but the music saying stay the same. We want change, but what we see saying, no, stay the same. So we have to decide.
Right. So with the arts and culture aspect of our community, we have a real opportunity to make the changes that we want to see. Just like, as you said, right now is a time where things are going on out there in the world. You got, excuse my dog. There's things going on out there in the world. We could take it back to the 1960s. It was the same kind of spirit and the same kind of vibe, and what got us out of it, or what got us through it during that time, music. Same thing with hip hop. During that time, things were very turbulent. A lot of poverty, a lot of drugs was really infiltrating the streets. The school systems was failing us, and we had these oppressive, draconian laws under Bush one, and really under Reagan, going back to the early '80s. And you had all of these conditions, and it was right. And what got us through? Hip hop. So I know for me, and when I came up, my soundtrack for life was not only not only hip hop, but it was also the music that preceded hip hop. It was a lot of the R&B, a lot of the sounds from the '60s, the '70s, the James Brown, the Motown sound, the bands from the '70s. That kind of defined, and then hip hop started coming, 78, 79, 80, and started kind of coming in there and causing this friction. And we felt that on the streets. So a lot of us was still trying to, be a part of the R&B thing, but this hip hop thing just started coming, and it was a tidal wave. So was it for you? Was it the beats and the rhymes? Was it the liberating sovereignty of being able to just create your own sound and to be your own vessel for this thing? Because believe it or not, your style of hip hop, and people will see, is evolved, but it's not new. Because I've seen young ladies do that, do what you do what's the sister from Lauryn Hill? You know what I'm saying? That style of combining conscious lyrics with amazing singing, with excellent writing. I mean, and that dates back to the late '70s, early '80s, when I used to see sisters do that. So was it the beats and the rhymes for you that really just said, I got to do this, as opposed to just straight singing, or straight, MCing, or lyricist, or even poetry? Was it the beats and the rhymes?
I think, well, I think that's the first thing that naturally catches your attention. because you get your head gets to nodding. You know what I mean? I remember Eric B. Like I remember y'all in this time frame, the musical taste was different than it is, today. Today, and I remember jumping on my mother's couch to Eric B. and Rakim "Relax, Repel." It was so hype. But then you start hearing the lyricism, and you're like, man, that's so dope what he said. So it was the wordplay that really, pushed it over the edge for me. And it's like, how can you craft the visuals in that way? It was, it's a gift. It was the gift of wordplay. So I'm like, wow, I'm seeing everything you're saying, and you're saying it so hardcore. And the whole battle rap and all of that kind of stuff. And in that time, for me, the battle rap was about how intelligent, can I sound, or how much can I say, or how, dope my metaphor could be. you know. So it really was about that. It was about the wordplay and painting pictures with words like Tupac did so eloquently. I remember being captivated by Sister Soldier. Um, don't get me wrong. I know she was talking about we are at war. It was the militancy, brother, that really got me. Cause I'm like, she like, we at war. You know what I'm saying? Wake up and look around, because I was trying to figure out my surroundings. I was trying to figure out, where am I? For a long time I didn't know that we were poor until we went to East Peoria. See, I grew up in Peoria, and we crossed that bridge and you start seeing the super green grass and the nice houses. And I said, okay, I would like to live in this area too. And I look next door and it's a sad song in almost every apartment. So it was like a different story. I grew up, the apartment complex was Taft Homes. And, paint peeling off of all of the buildings, there's glass everywhere. But my home was peaceful though. And my mother, she used music as medicine. So I didn't really grow up with a lot of, she didn't have a lot of, she didn't have vices like that. Music was just the medicine. So I was like, I grew up in music. Like that was the drug that my mother used, And so, yeah, I would definitely say it was the militancy, because I found out something was wrong here. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we living like this? Why is it so much pain in the midst of plenty? Why can't I access it? Why do I only have this amount of or this type of curriculum in my school? What if I want to be an astronaut? What if I want to be a marine biologist? Or what if I wanted to, I didn't even know there was such a thing as, studying just plants for a living. I was taught teacher, doctor, what it was, nurse, you know what I mean? Cook, librarian, none of those fit me. And so
Lawyer.
hip hop was a way to kind of say like, hey, we need to correct what's wrong. That's how I was introduced to hip hop. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty deep. It's interesting. You say you're from Peoria, Illinois, so that's the Midwest. Being that I'm from, from New York, from the Bronx, I got to see it from the Genesis. And I mention
Mm.
that because when it first started, it wasn't about anything political. From what I saw, it really gained steam when I was in middle school. So you're talking 82, 83, around there. And um, it was yes, yes, y'all. It was partying. Everybody was doing this. It was yes, yes, y'all, to the beat, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It was about the DJ. The older guys in my neighborhood, they were the ones who were, well, the older kids were the ones who were outside when the DJs were out there, having their battles, and the MCs were the ones who were introducing their DJs. It wasn't about the MC at that time. So to see it evolve, from party music and everybody just finding a way to stay busy, to stay up the, the kids in the 70s were trying to find a way to stay busy to get off the streets. Because you're talking right after the civil rights era, you're talking right after the ending of the Black Power movement, 1972, 1973. when Grandmaster Flash and all of them just really, and they were teenagers, these guys were starting to work on this particular craft, and this particular sound started to come out of all of that at that time. So to see it go from that to, when Melly Mel came out with what the message, and what 80, 81, so between 79 and like 82, that's when it started, you see the evolution where hip hop can actually become a vehicle and a voice for change, if anything, for awareness, for awareness. So to see it evolve from that to what you're talking about with the politics and the consciousness of it, that only shows that, where our mind was. So fast forward 20, 25 years later, now we're in, 20 years into the 21st century, and hip hop has always been evolving, right? That's always been an ever evolving music. I mean, from 84, I would say from 83 to 89, if you lived in New York City, just like in the 60s, you had a doo-wop group on every corner, in every black neighborhood in every city. You had a hip hop group or some MC or some guy trying to, you know, was releasing albums and records, and in rapid pace. So we had radio stations that would play after midnight hip hop music. That's when you got all the underground stuff from dudes you would never hear from now, and songs you would never hear now. Songs of skateboarding and karate fighting, and old movies from MCs, from guys who were one hit wonders. To see all of that creativity and that blast of creativity to now, what does that tell you about the state of where we are, and how important it is to have this particular ministry out there in the community? What is this time and the state of music now tell you about where we are as people?
Ooh, that reminds me of the quote from Nina Simone that the duty of an artist was to reflect the time. I thought that was a very powerful statement that she made, because right now we are in a very intense time. This is, we talk about the 80s and, the crack era, by the way, which I've seen, decimate family members. And I seen that. I was just, that's what I grew up in. And then you see, the war on drugs and all of these things, and the three strikes and you're out. But right now, it ain't no three. You don't make it to the court, you're executed in the street. And it's all over social media and it's on camera. So with us and hip hop, honestly, when you pick up a microphone and you're able to deliver a message into hundreds of thousands or millions of people's ears, you think, what would I say in a time like this? What could I do? But me, I'm speaking as a person who came into the art with a caring heart. I think that makes a difference. No, I know that makes a difference. And so what I would say is, and like I say, we don't complain, we create. So those creators that care, those creators, if you can't get a good night's sleep because you're sensitive, like, on our real sensitive artist levels, like Erykah Badu said, I'm sensitive about my ish, or like Michael Jackson, he couldn't help but to try and sing, like, heal the world and make it a better place. But he also had wartime songs. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
Because, and I say this, what really drives me is the children, the next generation. When I leave, I don't want to leave it worse. I don't want to leave it worse. And if this that's going on out in the street with so much melee and so much confusion and so much poverty and so many people depending on a system that has proven itself to only be a corporation out for itself. What is the agenda? What are we going to do? Rile up the right conversation, because you may not be a biblical person, but I do go by this scripture and I believe in it. I believe it's the book of John. People who understand the word, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can drop that in the comment, but I know it's in the book of John. It said, in the beginning of the word, was God. The word was with God, and the word became flesh and walked amongst men. You don't have to be a Christian to know that that is a real, live, true statement. How so? When you teach a child or when you absorb information, you become what it is you absorb. You are what you eat. And so when I say, when I am giving you the response of what I believe that we could be doing as artists, in this time, or like Nina Simone, I'll give you somebody that you know. Nina Simone said, the duty of an artist is to reflect the time. I think that we could become healers and builders of our community. We can become helpers, in the cause of freedom, justice, and equality. Yeah, it's you want to be entertained. The beat, it don't have to be cheesy or corny. The beat can be slapping like we like Kanye West Jesus Walks. And I'm gonna tell you something about that man Kanye West and his production, okay? That's the power of good music. The media and all this crap they were saying about him, some people say, look, I don't give a darn. That man makes some good music. You can't deny
Hey, it says, look like you froze on me. Look like she froze on me, family. So, she was really making some excellent points about this music, man. And I just want to get a clearer understanding on, what our soundtrack is. What is our soundtrack now for this particular time? And where do we stand now, as far as what is going to get us through these times? It's like now we really have to go in. You understand, family? So let me see if I can get her back on here. Let's see if I can get her back on. I think I actually froze, so we'll come back here. All right. All right, sis.
All
Can
right,
you
it's
hear
just
me?
a second. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yep. Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
All right, yeah.
All right. So hey, it happens. Technical things. It happens.
Oh, that's
So what were you saying? If you can remember where you were picking up at, can
oh
you
yeah,
pick up where you left off?
absolutely. Kanye West, and his good music, his production, because you can tell overall, you know, the heart of a person that produces just good music that just resonates with you. And so we need that coupled with the message, right? That's for the time, the message that reflects the time. I'll tell you why I'm saying this, because we know that time is precious. We know, some of us know in our hearts, that we need to make the best of the time that we have in this physical reality. A lot of us quote and say, you can waste my money before you waste my time. Or people just don't want their time to be wasted. That's something you can't get back. You can get money back. You can lose $20-$50 in the street, okay, and you can go make it back. But you can't make time, you know, you can't rewind time and bring that back. That's what I'm saying. And so we value time. So our time here on earth is very precious, it's very valuable, and we want to make the most of it. And we're not here with an assignment, have to carry out our assignments. And a lot of us know. You might feel it in your soul, you feel it in your heart that you have a specific purpose or a specific assignment. And I'll tell you, what was told to me is, you wake up, you think about a thing, that's more than likely what you should be doing. If you wake up every morning very passionate about it, that is what you should be doing. Or like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, take 10 things that you really like to do and narrow it down to what one of those is your purpose. Narrow it down to what you really, really like to do. Just take 10 things and you can narrow it down to a few, but one of those more than likely is your purpose. And so for me, I've come to understand that my purpose lies within arts and culture because I'm so passionate about it. I'm so passionate about it. One of a great artist that I respect, whom I was blessed to meet, was Stevie Wonder. He affected me tremendously, in songwriting. You know what I mean? And his heart. And so a gentle song, a song or music can calm the hearts of savage beasts. That's a powerful science. We living in a jungle. And another thing, there a very powerful sister, Mother Tainetta Muhammad, she said that music, medicine, and color is a healing for all nations. Music, medicine, and color. So in a time of sickness, we need healing. In a time of injustice, we need warriors. In a time of miseducation, we need teachers. And so
Absolutely.
yes,
Not to cut you off, but that's kind of profound right there. Because if you look at it, even if you think of war, we are at war in many senses, but what do a lot of the armies do? They sing, right? They may have a song. They have a song the night before in order to gin up the proper ashe, the proper spirit that they need to have in order to go to war. So they'll sing a song, or they'll create a song based off of a particular event that may have happened. So the song actually records the event, right? And then they sing about that as well. So there's always a place where music has always fit in every culture, I believe. But there's something unique about us, and but I also wanted to touch on something else. As a wife and a mother, and obviously a black woman, have you ever have you encountered any, hip hop is kind of male dominated, so have you ever really came across any resistance, or have you gotten the respect based off of what you bring when you get on that stage? But have you ever had some dudes be like, man, when it comes to you and
there
what you bring?
was one funny incident. Kara's one, he came to Flint, Michigan, and there was a cipher. The brothers were bigger than me, stronger than me. They didn't want to let me get in that cipher. That was, one incident. And so what's funny was I tapped this brother. He was a big brother with a mohawk. And I tapped him. He kind of knew what I wanted. And he's like, y'all move out the way. He moved everybody out the way. And then I performed and everything. And that ended up being like a very, historical little tidbit in history, I guess you could say, in Flint, Michigan, with me and KRS-One. We ended up going to the studio with a couple of artists from Flint, and it was dope. But then on the flip side, I kind of I learned how to produce music myself for that very reason, because sometimes and I know it could be, because you a sister, you a female, and it's a male dominated industry. You really got to know how to articulate, what it is that you want, or do it yourself, in certain environments. But I haven't, really been around them, too much, because I really created my own bubble now. And so
Right. So you really haven't had to encounter kind of like that kind of resistance a little bit, just for being a female MC,
I
in this
used
game.
to,
You haven't had to deal with that.
I used to, until I, just discovered how to do it all myself. It's very
Oh, so
important
you avoided
to
that
me.
by becoming. Oh, okay. So you managed to kind of circumvent that by being independent. Pretty
Yes.
much, you just produced your own, so you kind of avoided a lot of the BS that probably a lot of sisters come across in this business.
Yeah, and I have a buffer. You know what I mean? Like, either if my brother didn't come with me to performances, it was my husband, or you know what I mean. So I don't travel alone, and I don't be in a lot of situations. You know, just completely, alone. Like even the studio I go to, a particular brother, he's a, FOI there. You know what I mean? But which means like we have a culture, that generally protects women. So I've been blessed in that way. You know, I move in a certain way because of my training. Now, see, when you know it's a jungle out there, you don't just run out there like a piece of meat when it's lions
Right.
out the door. You know what I mean? You have to move
Man,
right.
lions and tigers and bears.
And
Oh my.
bears. Oh my.
Yeah, shark and the heart and the whole nine. Yes, ma'am. And that's a good thing that to have that support system is very, very important. So, I'm glad you mentioned that because unfortunately, a lot of our sisters don't. And they try to get into this industry, and get swallowed up. And
Mm.
regardless of how talented they are, there's always, some kind of issue. So, by the grace of God, you've been sheltered from that, and that's a beautiful thing. So before we go any further, I want you to go ahead, family, hit the like button, hit the share button, please go ahead and send some more comments. Um, I want you to please, Arian, talk about your upcoming event on August 11th. Please let the family know what it's about.
Okay, so August 11th, number one, August 11th is the official birth date of hip hop in history. And that's like you mentioned, Grandmaster Flash, but really like DJ Cool Herc. He threw a block party for his sister. It was like a back to school going event, get, the supplies and stuff like that. But DJ Cool Herc on August 11th threw that. And that was the element of the DJ, right? And so, but what I wanted to do was pay homage to the culture in the spirit of the culture, in the spirit of having a good time, being enlightened, you know what I mean? And, having that high frequency over good music. And then what better way to do it and take it back to the root than to do it at Grassroots Bookstore. So we want to take it back to the root, Grassroots Bookstore. I'm definitely, seeking, like-minded individuals. I got some exciting things coming up for the Ministry of Arts and Culture, where it's not just going to be that event, but we're, just breaking out and then re-establishing the Artist Collective again. So, yeah, so August 11th, we got Mystic Blue. We have Miles Prime. We have myself. Um, we have Dr. Westenberg. We have DJ Rampage from Flip Mode Squad. If y'all don't know Flip Mode Squad, that's Busta Rhymes and Rampage, Rod Digger. But so we have Rampage, first lieutenant of Flip Mode Squad. He's going to be DJing. We got vendors. Black Friday is going to be out. Mega Ran, I guess the founder of it's like a whole genre hip hop, nerdcore hip hop. He has his book in Grassroots Bookstore. He's going to be there signing his books. And so yeah, and in the future we're going to be doing online live streaming things because we do know this Delta variant, this whole pandemic stuff. And so in the future we definitely be doing online streaming events and things like that. So but August 11th, it's just about reflecting, looking back at the culture while establishing the new.
Right, I was just putting that in the comments. Come on out on August 11th. Yeah, just talking about the elements. Well, hip hop has what the five elements, right? So I remember, the building actually that Cool Herc was hosting that party in was 1546, I believe, Sedgwick Avenue in the
Cedric.
Bronx.
Okay.
Yep, on Sedgwick, and I spent a lot of time there, and that's kind of on the south part of the Bronx near these buildings called River Park Towers, right across the street, actually, for River Park Towers. Said that building on Sedgwick actually was it's right on the Hudson River, and you're actually facing the upper part of Manhattan, which would be called Washington Heights. So that whole area right there was clicking. That area and the area I lived in called Soundview. A lot of DJs, a lot of MCs came out of Soundview. A lot came out of that particular area of the Bronx, over there on Sedgwick. KRS-One and them was from not too far from over there. So that whole clique. But just like I said, man, I go back to the Cold Crush brothers. I go back to the Mighty Four. I go back to those guys who the flyers were handwritten and drawn on and actually ran through a mimeograph, not a Xerox, a mimeograph, the machine that, you know what I'm saying, they called them leaflets and stuff like that. Back then, you would see them taped up on the walls in the buildings, throughout the particular projects. Like I said, that particular, in that particular time, and it was life. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that we did. It was life. In New York, you heard music everywhere you went around the city. So it was straight. It ain't what it is now. You know what I'm saying? It certainly, New York now was like, I miss the old New York, really, because it was all sights, sounds, smells, and scents from the food and the people, and then it was just we all lived so close, man. So that culture was such a natural thing for us, where it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? To see a DJ party. We called them jams. It wasn't a party. They were jams. And we would go to the jam at the park. You just knew not to stay too long because something could happen, afterwards. And moms used to call me up to make sure I didn't get in trouble, because, after a certain time, you in the hood, pow, pow, things go wrong or a fight will break out or something like that. So, you got 8 projects coming together. Yeah, it's a war zone. You're talking the Bronx. You got 8 major projects coming together. You got 1,000 people out there listening to DJs and MCs, and we dancing. It ain't just that, we dancing, incorporating all the elements of hip hop. So, it was a special, special time.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
was a
a
special
beautiful
time.
institution, brother.
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
I said it's really a beautiful institution.
Absolutely, it was life for us, like really, and we still embody that. Even those of us now who from that generation now have children and grandchildren, a lot of us still embody that culture and still embody that time because it was that serious. It was that's just who we walk to that. So to see this recreated and brought out about in this form, I congratulate you. I'm really looking forward to a great show. Of course, your brother's gonna be there, to support. And yes, y'all, yes, y'all, and everybody, you know what I'm saying? And and just being there too as a resource, just to give a little bit, because I lived it, I was there, so I know. I know the history is not a tangential thing. I actually touched it and tasted and lived it and was there. So to see that, man, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I congratulate you on this major effort. Family, make sure you come on out to this event at the Grassroots Bookstore, August 11th. It is. Can you get the name of the event again, sister?
Grassroots Hip Hop Celebration. You can get tickets. Musicisalive.net/shows. Musicisalive.net/shows.
Hold on, let me put that in there. Musicalive.net/shows, right?
Yes, /shows.
Okay. So is that right there? Can you see it in the comments?
I don't think so. I can't see.
Okay.
See.
Check either TWG or the L.O.C site. You might see it there.
Okay.
But yeah, any closing comments, sis? We about to wrap this up. Any closing comments on the event, on the L.O.C, the history, anything you wanna, any kind of knowledge or wisdom you want to impart on the family, because we understand Black woman brings that wisdom, Queen of the Universe. So, anything important that you want to give to the family.
I do want to impart that the Ministry of Arts and Culture, our root, is the end of the exploitation of our talent by outside forces who have no interest, in our economic, spiritual, mental, or moral survival. And that I do want to say that it's bigger than hip hop. And what I mean by that is that, we have to look at where things are now, and we have to ask the question, how did it turn? So it's deeper, but that could be a whole nother conversation. I definitely consider myself to be a cultural warrior. I'm calling on cultural warriors, because it's one thing we can enjoy ourselves, like you said, brother. It's the military, but we have our chants, we have our dance too,
Yep.
our warriors, and where we're from, the motherland. We
Yep.
kick you behind to a melody.
Well, we break dancing.
But yes, but
That's
that's
what capoeira is all about, right?
but
Capoeira is
it's
all about.
yeah. So it's about owning our narrative, and it's about, being serious about our business. So it's not just about, having a good time, which is cool, but we also have to understand that we are businesses and that we have to use the economic power of art to fund our movement and to fund what we're doing. So that's why, it's very critical for us to understand this is it's not an event, it's a movement. It's not a moment, it's a movement. And so the arts, what I think the music industry is worth, 24 billion. I don't, the artists are not getting that much. It's a lot of hands getting that. Okay. So when we see, a lot of us don't understand, when we see these artists and things, it's the face of a corporation that's behind them. So the entertainment industry, is not real as we think it is. So we can have a whole conversation on that, a different,
Oh,
time.
we will.
But
Oh, we will. We definitely
this
will.
is, so music is alive. We're trying to bring back the life in the art form.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, Sister Arian Nicole. Thank you very much for visiting us tonight on the Waking Giant News Show. Um, Family, come on out to this event at the Grassroots Bookstore, August 11th. At what time does it start?
It's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. If you bring back to school supplies between 6 to 7, it's just $7 for you to enter.
Say that again for those in the back, please, sis.
If you bring back to school supplies between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., you enter for only $7.
Boom. Can't make it any easier than that, family. So come on through, family. Check us out. Also, feel free to hit that Cash App, $PHXLOC. Go ahead and donate. We are a nonprofit organization. We can use the support of the community. That's how we get things going. That's how we can continue to educate and bring events like this to the community. All right, family. So once again, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that share button. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and join this movement, family, because we need you. We are one. We are at war, and it's time to start behaving like it. And yes, music, arts, culture is another form of warfare. You know what I'm saying? Sister mentioned it too. Just like in the Bible, you don't have to be a Bible head or whatever, or a Christian or whatever, but there are jewels in there. The people of Jericho, the Israelites, they walked around that city of Jericho 7 times, right? Which is just a number of completion. Doing what? Singing, playing music instruments, yelling, praising God to the top of their lungs until what? The walls of Jericho fell down and they went in there and took over. So that's what this is all about. So trust when I say the universe moves on music vibration, moves on music, and moves on mathematics, and that's all music is, family. So come on out. Join this, check out the event, donate to the L.O.C. We could use your help, family. Be the solution and don't be the problem. Complaining is over. We say Phoenix Local Organizing Committee for Justice, or else, because that or else is we will just do it for our damn self. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're going to do it for ourselves. We're creating our own institutions, and we're going to continue to support those who do the same. All right, family. Once again, Sister Arian, thank you for coming on out and joining us on the Waking Giant News Show. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you. We
Shout out
will
to
fill the
TWB.
That's right. Thank you, sis. Really appreciate it. All right, family. Thank you for tuning in. Get ready next week for another exciting show with one of the women of the L.O.C. All right. So join us again, family, and we'll be glad to have you. Thank you again. Thank you, Arian Nicole, for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Peace, family.
Peace.